For the first time since at least I've been around, there's going to be an all-Canadian division. And even though I'm not Canadian myself, I'm actually really excited for this. So many rivalries are going to be not only renewed, but maybe some new ones born out of this. So my plan in this video is basically just to go through and just to predict how I think each team's going to do and what order they're going to finish in. These are always really fun ones to do, just to kind of, you know, freestyle a little bit and talk about what I think that I guess we can expect from this division. I think it's going to be pretty physical. It's going to turn into like kind of a bloodbath, to be honest, and it's going to be, well, it's going to be amazing. So with that, here are my predictions for the Northern Division. Coming in at number 7, this is pretty much, I mean, everyone's choice, Ottawa being at the bottom. Although I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year, but I don't necessarily see them taking over the division, if that makes any sense. They look a lot better on paper. They made some great additions. They drafted Tim Stützle. They signed Matt Murray, acquired Evgeny Dadonov, among others. Now, they aren't quite there yet, I would say, but I would not sleep on them maybe in like a few years. And like I said, I don't think they'll be finishing out at the bottom of the league like they were close to doing last year. I don't think they'll be quite as bad in that regard, but they do have some more depth now, and I think their goaltending is going to be a lot more better with Matt Murray in the crease. Number 6 was Winnipeg. There seems to be some internal discourse with this team, with Laine always on the market and the awkward Bufflin situation, and I don't know. It's just not, it doesn't seem right now with Winnipeg. They do have some great talent though. I mean, I really like Mark Scheifele up front, and obviously Laine's offensively gifted. They do have talent, but I feel like I said, there's just some real discourse, and they really could use some help defensively. Their blue line looks rather sparse, in my opinion. And really, Hellebuck won the Vezina last season in part because, I mean, his team wasn't playing their best hockey, respectively. He had, you know, a boatload of shots, and he was stellar, but there was a reason those shots kept coming. And I think they're going to be coming back with basically the same team. They didn't really make any big splashes in free agency. They only brought back Paul Stastny, to my recollection. I think the Laine situation, until it's really dealt with and they get a good return, if they do, I think we'll see maybe a turnaround with them, and they'll be able to put this drama behind them, and along with the mediocrity. Number 5, I had Edmonton. I've noticed that many are still riding the Edmonton hype, which is understandable, I mean, considering their offensive talents from a first glance, but if you look a little deeper, yes, they did get Tyson Barrie, Puljujärvi's back, the depth guys like Kyle Turris and Dominic Cahoon have been brought to the team, so they did address some of the issues that plagued them last season, but in my opinion, and what seems to be the all-around consensus, is their biggest need, which still is goaltending, with the same tandem in Koskinen and Smith, has not really been addressed, and when they're routinely facing teams like Calgary and Vancouver, I just can't picture them winning games consecutively and outdoing everyone like others are predicting. I definitely expect Vancouver to be better this season. They didn't really lose talent in net with the addition of Braden Holtby. I think he's going to have a bounce back year in his debut season. I've been saying with the team as well. Mitch Schmidt as a replacement for Chris Tanev almost seems to equal out, although I'd say Schmidt seems to be a bit slightly more offensive and Tanev defensive, but I don't see the Canucks completely taking over the division, but I see them being kind of in the middle. It's not really shocking to me how Toronto, it always seems to be the majority's favorite going into the season, as they usually tend to be at the start. I remember last season when we were going in, they were literally the Stanley Cup favorites, and people just, everyone was saying Toronto, you know, Toronto for the cup. And it seems to be the general, like I said, consensus every year. But I do have to give them some credit though. I think they made some good improvements, and they tried to add the main ingredient that they've been lacking more so in grit. Add some more of that. They acquired TJ Brody, Wayne Simmons, and Zach Bogosian to help give them some much needed sandpaper. Thornton will also enjoy the role as the new Patrick Marleau and hopefully fit in nicely. Probably the hottest take on here, I had Calgary at number 2. I really think Calgary is going to surprise a lot of people. When you look at where they were in the standings last year, to me, it's impressive how they were able to finish at 8th with mediocre goaltending at best. They're also, in my opinion, one of the most physical and gritty teams on paper, with Milan Lucic, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sam Bennett on the roster. Also, as I mentioned in a previous video, Johnny Gaudreau is more than due for a bounce-back season. After all the criticism he's receiving, it's only logical that he'll want to prove everyone wrong. For number 1, at the top of the division, I had Montreal. While they have seemingly been missing an extra piece or ingredient for quite some time for success, the Canadiens have improved the most, I think at least, out of all the teams featured on this list since last season. They really weren't terrible to begin with. Trust me, I underestimated them last postseason and felt pretty silly doing so. Since they addressed their need at center and have depth there now, they went and got the perfect backup for Carey Price and Jake Allen. Also, I thought the Josh Anderson signing was meeting another need, as the Canadiens have been known to be a smaller team, but getting a big boy like Anderson and having him in the top 6 is going to help fill that void.